Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Ollie says hi too. I really hope that this fairy light flickering is not irritating to anybody, and if it is, I'm so sorry. Anyway, welcome back to my channel and today's video. As you can tell, the background is actually different books. I thought today I would give my fantasy shelves some love and put them in the background of a video instead of all my contemporary shelves. So anyway, as you can tell from the title, I am doing my January and February reading book wrap up. So the reason why I have combined them into the one video is because I forgot to do one for January, and by the time I realized we were halfway through February, and I was just like, we're just not gonna bother. And now I thought I've got no video lined up or filmed, and I need something easy to film and edit, so I thought let's just do a reading wrap up video. Let me know in the comments down below if this is something you like to see. Let's just get into this because I've wasted enough time on this intro. I've got my reading journal down here, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, so like my first 5-star read wasn't actually until February, and I feel like I started the year off reading a bunch of books that I just didn't love and didn't enjoy, and it really just set me up badly for the year, but it's okay because I've recovered. So the first book that I finished this year was Baby, It's Cold Outside. So this book I actually started December 2022, and I actually wanted to finish it in December, but I just wasn't loving it and I did not finish it. This was a bit of a skim read for me. I was reading it whilst I was in Tasmania, so I had to carry it over to this year, and I think this is part of the reason why I had a bad reading month. But basically it's about this girl Nora, and when she was a teenager, after her and her friends finished high school, they went to Europe or the UK for a bit of like a girls trip, and she ended up meeting this guy. They hit it off, had a great time. She ended up extending her trip and staying with him for like an extra week, and from what I remember, they sort of got together, but the timing and stuff didn't work out for them. She had to go back home to America, and he had to go back to wherever the hell he was going. They sort of kept in touch via emails, but it did drop off over the years, and basically when they were last together, they made this promise to one another that in 10 years time, if we're both single, let's meet up at this pub in Dublin. Present day is 10 years later, and she's making the decision to rock up to this pub without knowing if this guy's even going to be there, if they're still interested in that. One of her friends goes with her. Yeah, that's it. I didn't like it. I really struggled with the writing style. I just didn't gel with it, and I think that was my main issue because the idea sounded like really cool and interesting, but the way it was executed, I just didn't enjoy it. I struggled with the writing style. I wanted to DNF it, but I didn't. I ended up rating this book 1 star. Because I just didn't like it. And then the second book I read, you guys are probably aware because I have a reading vlog on it, which I will link down below if you have not watched it. But it is Spare by Prince Harry. It is his memoir. Like I said, I have the reading vlog. Feel free to check it out. I'm not really going to discuss it very much because all of my thoughts are in that video. Didn't rate this one because I don't want to rate memoirs, because I just think not appropriate to rate someone writing about their life story regardless of whether you think it's a load of shit or not. For the sake of my bullet journal, just rated it like a 1 star because that's like my neutral. It's a memoir, we don't rate it. I for the most part did enjoy this. You know, I think take it with a grain of salt with everything that's said. It is what it is. Didn't change my life or anything like that. Didn't think it was too shocking or that revealing. Okay, and then the third book I read was This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. I think I need to give up on reading white books this year. They're not going very well for me. We're 3 for 3 and they're not that great. So this one is about this girl, Minnie. She's born on New Year's Day, and every single day on her birthday something has gone wrong. She basically thinks the day's cursed and she never wants to celebrate her birthday or do anything for it. She ends up meeting Quinn's birthday is also on New Year's Day, and it turns out that both of their mothers were in labor at the same hospital giving birth to one another, and Minnie's mum told Quinn's mum that she wanted to name her daughter Quinn. Quinn's mother ended up giving birth to him first. Minnie's mum helped her so much through her birth that to honor Minnie's mum, she was going to name her son Quinn as well. There was also this prize going around that they were going to give the baby that was born first in the new year some monetary value. So Quinn was put all through the papers, and Minnie's parents were like, well, we can't name her Quinn now. Basically, she's lived her entire life being told that this guy stole her name, and so she meets him. I also didn't enjoy the writing style of this one. That's the main reason why I didn't like it. Didn't really care for the characters. I ended up skim reading it. It was just not an enjoyable read for me, and I was just not here for it. I just didn't like this one very much, and it was a 1 star read for me as well. So this was actually the last book that I ended up finishing in January, and that is All the Tides of Fate by Adeline Grace. So this was my first fantasy novel of the year. It continues on the All the Stars and Teeth duology, so pretty much picks up right from where that book ended. But basically it's about this young girl who's inherited the crown. She's the queen. She's also cursed. There's fights and stuff. I enjoyed it. I don't really remember much about it, which is really bad. I wanted to enjoy it more than I did. I just didn't really care for the characters, but I'm glad I've read it because it's been sitting on my shelf for some time now, and I've read it and I can sort of move on. I did rate it 4 stars, which I think is more than I rated the first book. I did actually enjoy it more than I was expecting to, which was nice. Alrighty, and then the next book that I started in January, but I didn't actually finish until February, was Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. I did rate this book. I've done 3.5 stars, but I really think I should have done 3 stars. I think I was just excited to read a book that I got through quite quickly, that I enjoyed a bit more, but like after reading some other books and other books that I've rated 3.5 stars, I'm just like, this just doesn't hold up to 3.5 stars, so it's probably more of a 3-star read for me. This book does have, I feel like it should have trigger warnings. I can't recall if there are any, but I feel like they should be. But basically it's about this young woman who lives with her mum in a trailer park. Her mum ends up dying, so she calls her dad, gets a flight to stay with him for the summer before college. So she meets him, his wife that she didn't know about, and his stepdaughter, and stays with them for the summer. And I found a lot of aspects of this book unrealistic. It was very, very, very odd in my opinion. Some things happened that I just didn't find believable. There was insta-love, which I did not enjoy, and I don't like that. Look, I'll get into this like a hell of a lot more when I finally sit down and film my Colleen Hoover overrated video. I just didn't find it believable. It was not my favorite Colleen Hoover. It's a bit of a met one for me. And then we move on to a novella bind up, which is the Loath to Love You collection by Ali Hazelwood. 3 novellas. It's Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. I devoured this in like, God, a day. It was adorable and it was so easy and nice to read, but it basically focuses on 3 girls who went to college together and then they're living away from one another, and each story focuses on them. So it was really nice to sort of see their progression through the later books and work out what's going on. But basically they're all 3 women in science and the challenges that they sort of face, and then their love interests, and they were adorable. Under One Roof was my first 5-star read. And then the second novella is Stuck With You. I did really, really enjoy this one. I rated it 4.5 stars because I was trying not to give them all 5 stars, but honestly, I really could have. And then the third book is Below Zero, and I rated that one 4 stars. So it was my least favorite out of the 3. My only complaint is that I really wish that they were longer. I wanted them to be longer. Like, I think I could have read a full-length novel on all of them, and if they were just fleshed out, I think I would have been so happy and I would have loved it. But I did really enjoy this, and overall, all 3, I'd give it like a 4.5 to 5-star rating if I'm being honest. And then we have another contemporary novel, which is Built to Last by Erin Han. This book is basically about child stars who step away from the limelight, and then she starts working in her father's renovation business, and she goes into restoring old pieces. Somehow it gets wound up that Hollywood and the people she used to act with, they want her to do a reality TV show flipping houses. I did not really enjoy it, if I'm being honest. I rated it 3 stars. I didn't really enjoy the writing style. I didn't really like the characters. I found them a little bit irritating. But yeah, it was a bit of a nothing read for me for the most part, and I probably would have wanted to have DNF'd it, except for the fact it's on my 23 books I want to read this year and I don't want to DNF any of them. But this was a nothing read for me. The second 5-star read, but it is no surprise, it is Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This is book 3 in the, I don't even know what series it is, The Last Hours trilogy by Cassandra Clare. There's the rest of the books. So basically she's the author of The Mortal Instruments. This trilogy focuses on, if you've read The Infernal Devices, their children. It was great. I loved it. I laughed out loud. It just made me so happy, and I just loved it, and I'm so glad I've read it. And I'm a bit sad that now the series is over, but I just love the Shadowhunter series and everything, and it was great. I felt like it was a good way to end the series. Next book that I read was The Royals Next Door by Karina Hale. This was a 3-star read for me as well. Would like to confirm now here for everybody that are royals in this book. Can I just say, I don't know, like the Harry and Meghan vibes in this book were a lot. I don't know if I was just projecting that because I read The Spare this year and I was just seeing it, but there were totally links that made me think of Harry and Meghan with the royal couple. So it basically focuses on our main character, Piper, who is an elementary school teacher, and she lives on this property with her mum in this little house, and there's basically this massive mansion on the property as well, but no one ever lives in it. There is this prince who is the second son. He's not the heir to the throne, his older brother is, and he ends up married to, this is the Harry and Meghan vibes, a black American singer that the public doesn't like very much and have slammed anyone else connecting any dots there, and they want to escape the British press. They end up deciding to rent out the mansion next door to Piper and her mum. My main issue with this book was that I didn't find Piper likable. I found her very naive and a little irritating. I found the bodyguard a little overbearing. And I also just did not find it believable that these royals have moved in next door and the Duchess becomes Piper's best friend and wants to hang out with her all the time and do stuff with her, and they're just like telling her how she's pregnant before they've announced it to the rest of the world. And it was just like, they don't know her. Why are they telling her she's pregnant? Why do they want to be friends with her? Like, it just wasn't believable to me, and I just thought it was stupid. I just found it stupid and a little childish, and I didn't really enjoy it for the most part, but it was just like a very, what even is this that I'm reading kind of book. And then the last book, that I finished in February is one that I don't own because I borrowed it from a friend, but it is Wild Place by, I think, Christian White. I will stick up a photo for here. So he is an Australian author. Oh God, I said that like proper Australian. God, fuck no, it's Australia. He's an Australian author, and basically it just focuses on this story set in 1989 in a small town where a young girl goes missing in early December. The story starts a couple weeks later when the main character, Tom, is asked to stick up some photos of her because she's been missing for a couple of weeks, but the cops have just presumed that, you know, she's just a runaway because her mum and dad are getting a divorce. And also her mum believes that she's been kidnapped because she said she was being followed by somebody. So no one believes her. Basically, it's just about Tom unraveling the mystery of what actually happened to this young woman the night that she went missing. I rated this a 3.5 stars, and this was the book that made me go, yeah, no, Heartbones is not a 3.5 stars read. I didn't feel like this book was a 4-star read just because it's like a third person narration, but I found like Tom was a very unreliable character and narrator. I did not guess like what happened to the young girl. Look, when you go into these books and someone's missing, it's like they're dead. And the reason why it's called The Wild Place is because all of their houses basically back onto this bushland. It's overrun and dodgy stuff goes in there, and like there's also these theories that like, you know, she's been kidnapped or murdered because of like a cult. It was a very easy read. I didn't want to like put it down. I was intrigued. It was sad at times, and then it's also kind of a case of at the end it's like, well, hold on a minute, the actual killer got away here, but you don't actually get anything written confirming that that happened. So that's something that really like frustrated me, because I was like, no, I want to find out what happens to these people, because they basically got a happy story and a happy ending that they've gotten away with murder, and it's like they shouldn't have gotten away with it. But I really loved it. So yeah, they are all of the 12 books that I read these last 2 months. If you have read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of them. Also let me know what books you guys have managed to read so far in the first 2 months of this year. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will probably try to do a reading wrap up every 2 to 3 months. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.